Nose is the organ of olfaction, means it's the organ which is necessary for smelling something, some sort of chemical that is there present in the surrounding, or maybe emitting out of certain material. So this organ is readily like present and well developed in all the vertebrates and different mammals, especially like in our case also it is quite well developed, and its shape and form it varies from person to person. Like there are various kinds of shape that the nose actually takes up, and it is all due to the arrangement of the cartilages that forms the external part of the nose. So the anatomy of nose, if we talk about, it is not bony but rather a cartilaginous structure, which is on top of the nasal cavity, and this nasal, like the upper lateral cartilages as it is called, it forms this distinct triangular or pyramidal kind of shape, resulting in the formation of the shape of of the nose. Now the bottom layer is actually the lower cartilages. It actually extends the lower lateral cartilages. They extend towards the side, and from there the skin actually develops, like it covers up that area, forming this particular base part of the nose. And the incision of the open is actually open chamber is the one through which we say is the nasal, the pore which actually originates, or and through which the air is actually taken in or is exhaled out. Now, talking about the nasal cavity, or talking about the entire nose chamber, the nose is like the nasal vestibule. It is fully connected with the entire chamber of the nasal cavity, followed by the nasopharynx region, is this top layer, which can be seen right here, this area. So this entire portion of this nasal cavity is where we will find there are this distinct this kind of specialized structures called the conchae, and it is somewhat like a outgrowth, a folding kind of structure, which represents to some extent that of the shape of the shell of conchs and all those kind of organisms. And it is this particular piece which is responsible for like the air that is getting inside it. Actually this air layer which stops the entire flow of the air, actually it creates a current. We should not say the word as stop, but rather it actually helps in creating a current. And then that particular air, it is being, like it is being warmed up, because the entire air, it needs to go to the lungs, which is of a particular physiological state. So this air, if it is like different, then it can actually hinder in the activity of the lungs. So that's why the air is made somewhat close to whatever the physiological state of the lungs is. It is actually made somewhat close to that. For instance, the temperature is regulated right there, means it helps in maintaining the temperature of that particular air, that it doesn't get inside the lungs as a very cold air or a very warm air. So it actually regulates the air temperature. Plus also it actually moistens it, means there is a mucus that is present there. It helps in moistening this entire air, because dry air is also not going to be much effective in transmitting the exchange of gases in the alveolar region. So that's why it is a little bit moistened also in this particular region. That's why the air that is going inside is being treated or processed, we can say, in this concha area. Now after that we will find this entire nasopharynx region is there, through which this air actually goes inside down to through our trachea into the lungs. And that is the main, like the way of breathing that we normally see. The second purpose of our nose, or you can say like another main reason for this nose is to for the reason of this olfaction, means the reason of smelling. So for that particular reason, we are going to find that in this upper palate region of this nose is where we are going to find that there are these this olfactory, like we can say this is actually like olfactory nerves that are extended. Here it is shown as olfactory nerves as extending outward, but in reality is not that much extended outward, because there is a layer of olfactory epithelium that will be there. And the olfactory epithelium is the one which is responsible for like the detection of the smell, means actually detection of the chemical whatever is present in the air that has been taken in. Well, one thing it should be mentioned along with it is like right around this region we will have the nasal hairs that are extended, and these nasal hairs are actually responsible for blocking any sort of dust particle that is present in the air that we are breathing in, because this dust particle can be hazardous for the rest of the tract system. So this dust particle and all this like particulate materials in the air, it is actually trapped right there with the help of the hair, nasal hair, and the mucus that is present there. And if it is present in substantial amount, then there is a reflex action that is triggered where we sneeze and like shoot away or exhale away this entire forcibly this entire whatever dust has got trapped into the hair of the nose. And somewhat it is like it is definitely it is a reflex action, a cranial reflex action. And it is all because of the hair that is present right in this region. But those hairs are not at all responsible for the olfaction purpose. The entire olfaction is regulated by olfactory epithelium that is present right in this particular region. So we can say it is that the olfactory epithelium is here, the olfactory nerves are extended towards it, and they form this olfactory bulb right there, which finally takes all this neural signal to the olfactory center of the brain. Now, talking about the structure of the olfactory epithelium, so we are going to find the structure somewhat representing like this, where we see this ethmoid bone, which is like the like the top of the upper jaw, you can say. Not the jaw, means actually the upper part of the nose is where we find that the like the all the entire part actually is extending from. You can see the image is shown right here. This magnification of this particular section is what is being shown here. So we are going to find this ethmoid bone is there, and through that ethmoid bone the entire olfactory like neurons are all coming down right there into the olfactory epithelium, which is given this red kind or orangish kind of hue. Now this is also called the Schneiderian membrane, or even like pronounce somebody can pronounce it as Schneiderian membrane also. So this membrane is actually the one which consists of mainly the olfactory cilia. Pardon me. The olfactory cilia, the olfactory receptor, means cilia in the sense these are actually the supporting cells. They are ciliary columnar cells, and they have these olfactory receptors along with it, which are extended dendrite regions of the nerves, olfactory nerves, you can say. And it is the one which is responsible for detection of whatever chemicals are entering with the air current, means whatever air, like the air current that is shown in the red arrow. So whatever chemical is there in that air current, this cilia that is present or this present right in that particular region, it actually detects that nature of the chemical, and along with these nerves also, the dendrite of these nerves also, and they generate a kind of a signal, and that signal is then sent to the brain, where it is being processed with the previous knowledge, as you know. And ultimately we come to learn about what kind of smell we are smelling, right? Or maybe what kind of chemical we are smelling. That is a way of olfaction that actually takes place. Along with it, we will find that the olfactory gland is present there to secrete mucus for making this entire area quite healthy and well, and to protect this entire area, we can say. And we are actually able to smell these substances whatever is present in the air to a certain degree, because definitely we have a good nose, but it is not as strong as many other vertebrates that we know. Even the dogs have got 10 times more effective smelling capacity than a human. So that way we don't have the strongest of the nose, but The nose is well developed, and its parts are actually being formed in a certain order so that we can detect whatever chemical is present in the mixture of air, whatever we are smelling. So that is actually the ultrastructure of that particular part, and this is another image showing the sorry another image showing the same thing, but in a real life condition. Means it's actually the tissue which is being extracted and then put under a stained specimen, shown as a stained specimen, and it's like the same place we are seeing that it contains this olfactory epithelium right in this particular region. This is the entire olfactory epithelium with like extended dendrites. You can see from there distinct shapes are there. Actually this kind of shapes can be seen here, and the rest of the membrane part is actually also there. Now this is how like our nose is arranged, and this is how the nose actually detects whatever sound or whatever smell is coming out. Now definitely one more thing, one more purpose that our nose serve, which is purpose of our speech, means helping in the process of speech, because many of our words or many of the syllables that we use, it actually is affected by the orbits, is actually somewhat dependent on the nose. So for that we have the sinuses, the pharyngeal sinuses, which are there present in the back of our nose. It's right there from where we actually find that the sound actually is mediated, so to some extent, through that particular area, and we can use those particular sounds then which make use of the nose to emphasize on that particular note or the syllable. So we can use that like that way. So this nose also helps in the process of making a sound of certain words or syllables or something like that. So it's not only the purpose of breathing, because it is definitely helping in the purpose of breathing. It is also helping in the purpose of smelling things, olfaction we can say, and also in the it helps in our speech, means production of sound and all. So that is the entire purpose of our nose.